5 former Republican administration officials have firmly rejected former President Donald Trump's claim for legal immunity in the case related to the January 6, 2021, Capitol riot. Trump faced indictment on August 1 by a federal grand jury in Washington, D.C., for charges including conspiracy to defraud the United States and conspiracy against rights, stemming from the events of that day. While Trump filed a motion to dismiss the case, asserting that he had presidential immunity at the time of the alleged conduct, the former officials have countered this defense. The indictment, arising from a Department of Justice, DOJ, investigation led by Special Counsel Jack Smith, focused on the violent protests at the Capitol, allegedly incited by Trump's claims of widespread voter fraud, which aimed to disrupt the certification of President Joe Biden's 2020 Electoral College victory. Trump's plea of not guilty, coupled with his argument for presidential immunity, has drawn intense scrutiny. In response, former officials who had served in various Republican administrations, spanning from Richard Nixon to George W. Bush, voiced their rejection of Trump's immunity claim. They contend that the former president should not be granted presidential immunity, underlining the potential consequences such immunity might entail. The argument put forth in their motion asserts that Trump's actions did not align with the responsibilities of the presidential office. They highlight that post-election attempts by a first-term president to overturn state election results are candidate activities and not within the scope of the presidential duties. Therefore, presidential immunity should not apply. Moreover, the brief argues that granting Trump presidential immunity could set a hazardous precedent and undermine the public interest. They contend that providing absolute immunity to a former president who lost re-election but engaged in criminal activities to obstruct the transition of power would pose significant dangers. It could enable future first-term presidents to manipulate the system to extend their rule, which runs contrary to the paramount public interest in preventing tyranny. The motion concludes by highlighting the potential dangers of granting absolute immunity, emphasizing that it could infringe upon the authority and functions of the executive branch. In light of these arguments, the former Republican officials make a compelling case against Trump's claim of presidential immunity, raising important questions about the separation of powers and the broader implications of such a defense.